All right. Welcome to another Tuesday night's evening blend. I am Pop Blender, and with me, as always, is Matthew Matson. What is up, y'all? And let's go full screen to get the skinny right now. Hitman.
Hello, He-Man. Oh, wrong show. Sorry, wrong guy.
I was wondering.
And this is to make all the stands mad.
Mm-hmm. I saw an Elric comic at my local comic shop.
Because you can't get him anymore. He's all gone.
Oh no.
Yeah, so the in-stock sale lasted about 2 minutes and it was sold out. But yeah, my pre-order and my one that I picked up at the con last weekend. But yeah, no, this is probably close to figure of the year for me.
Well, and you are not alone, my friend. Yeah, they look absolutely fantastic and all sold out, kids. So guess what? If you want one, you know what's going to happen, right?
Well, I will say this. Talking to Rob the other weekend, he said it's a licensed property. So with licensed property, the licensor wants to make more money too. So there is potential for reissues because he did undercut it. But the stipulation is the minimum order quantity has to be less than the actual demand that he's got out there. So if he's got to, make 3,000 units to have an MLQ to make his numbers, then there have to be 3,500 people that he knows wants them.
I mean, look, you've got to be reasonable about it, right?
I mean, right. And I honestly, I could see 250, maybe 500 people or 500 units more would sell. And if he's got an MLQ of 3,000, then that's not going to meet.
I have to respond to something quickly.
Okay.
Clint Jorgensen, the one and only, is literally watching Masters of the Universe right now.
Well, enjoy.
And it's awesome because he left a couple comments. I did post a review on my channel. If anybody is interested and you haven't seen it yet, feel free to check that out here in a little while. If you like, it's only about 10 minutes long. And Clint left a really good comment, going with family and like big group. And to me, like that's really awesome. And that's really fun. And I love to hear that, right? I wish I had a group that big that I could go with. Especially like a family group, I think is fantastic. I mean, you're talking about like 9-10 people, maybe more than that, right? Like, and so that's really cool. So that's awesome, actually. As we speak, literally watching the Masters of the Universe movie. I have not heard your comments. I have not heard your opinion. We have not talked about it. So I figured we'd save it for tonight so I could get your, straight from you on live stream and get my reaction to what you feel about it. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. I have starred Starfall. I've got your comments starred. I know one of those I think we discussed a little bit last week, if I remember correctly. But I do have you starred there, so don't you worry. Let's say hello to Turk Murphy's Toy Solutions, otherwise known as Checkpoint Bravo. Sabir Del Norte is in the house. What's up, buddy? David R., what's going on, brother? Same Time Toys, Shane, crushing it, as always. What's up, brother? Let's see here. Like I said, Starfall here as well. What's up? Good to see you back. Captain Kirk What's up?
What's up?
Requiem Evangelion, that is my son. So what is up, son? Yo, Joe Daddy, the big 6'10 feller. What's up? What's up? Says lick that like button. I love it. And then Garaf is here. And Garaf, I have something from you that I want to share here in just a bit because I thought you brought up some good points on a comment also on my review. There's my cuz, who I'm going to be on live tomorrow night with on his channel for a new Sevens Wild after a month off or whatever. And we're going to be talking about Yojo June, which makes sense since it's a G.I. Joe centric show, really. And I love it. Send it. Send it all, man. Send it all. Let's see here. I'll make sure I didn't forget anybody. As a few people roll in, we shall see. I'll do my best. Like landing planes. Air traffic controlling right here, ladies and gentlemen. And I will agree with you. That was really funny. As we get into the movie, if we can remember to bring that up, I thought that was pretty great, man. And so, yeah, as a Halloween costume would be pretty good. Okay, so let's get into it proper. Now, we did talk a little bit before, and I bet he does. We talk a little bit beforehand about we have a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. And a lot of times I think we do too much, and I like to slow things down a little bit and really get into the meat of stuff. So there are a lot of stories, and we can definitely go through, some of them for sure. We kind of picked out the ones and got rid of some others that are either old news or just not that interesting. I did save for you, Matthew, Death of the Pee-wee Squad, because I just wanted you to touch on that here in just a few minutes.
Yeah. That's going to be real brief, but
yeah. Well, anyway. If you even y'all know what that is. If you do, great. If you don't, that's great too. But we'll touch on that for a couple minutes. But MOTU Masters is going to take up a decent amount. But should we dive into the numbers, because there's some stories right out of that. There's some stories right out of the numbers, out of the box office, and I think you guys will find this interesting for sure. Just literally right off the top. So. Let me share this bad boy here, and Box Office Mojo, get out of there. All right, here we go. So, look, immediately, first thing that jumps out at you, Obsession, okay? Yep. A YouTuber created movie that about a $750,000 budget and has brought in $156 million domestic. Followed by Scary Movie, which has been out for 4 days. Opened up to 58 domestic. If we want to look at the worldwide total, it's 108. So it actually, at this point, if I believe what I looked at earlier, it's beginning to make a profit.
Yep.
About $5 million.
I also think it's funny that the YouTube movie even beats Scary Movie. It's still at the top.
I mean, it's you're right.
It's really a win for independent cinema for sure.
And hopefully a sign of things to come. I'll discuss that briefly momentarily. Backrooms, again, another one film that is crushing it here domestically and then even international. So at 216 total. Again, independent film.
Now,
less than 2 weeks in release.
What was the production budget for Backrooms? Was what, $10 million?
Yeah, I'd reportedly seen where someone paid maybe 15 overall to get it done, but even maybe with marketing.
Suffice it to say, it is percentage-wise the highest-grossing film of all time.
Yeah, yeah. It's and look, you're going to have a drop off, but look at the weekly change for Obsession. Only 20%. Yeah. Mean, that is fantastic. Word of mouth.
Holding strong.
Word of mouth. And so then we get to the major motion pictures. Now, Scary Movie obviously is, but yeah, I think it opened strong because people were really looking forward to it. The reviews are not good. The
Nope.
reviews are not good at all for Scary Movie.
Yeah,
As a matter of
it's gonna
fact,
fall off next week for
I know
sure.
somebody that walked out of it about
Ah,
45 minutes into the movie. I don't like to do that.
no, but
I I,
sometimes,
I walked out of Hot Shots Part 2. I did.
really.
I sure did. I walked out of Hot Shots Part 2. I literally was like, this is fucking terrible. And I walked right out of the movie theater. And I think it's one of the 2 times in my life I've walked out of a movie theater.
Yeah.
And looking back, I think at that time as a youngster, it didn't hit with me.
No, no, and I agree because I remember it didn't hit with me either because I like the first one, but
Me too.
the second one just didn't land, and I
Yep.
couldn't figure out why until much later. I still like the second one, but anyway,
I'm with you. No,
yeah.
but yeah, percentage better than Blair Witch, which obviously Blair Witch was just incredible box office
Well,
return.
there's some fudging there, but
Well,
anyway, yeah.
Wolfgrim, what's up, Wolfgrim? And
What's up?
he's left some great comments on some shorts and stuff too, man. Video as well. I appreciate that, Wolfgrim. And good to see you, man. Yeah, the speaking of walking out, now 3 Star says he's never walked out. Garaf says I've walked out of Batman Forever, and I can understand 100% why you would walk out of that movie. I
So
didn't see it in the theater.
there was one movie that I almost walked out of, but I didn't because me and my friends were MST3King the movie live in the theater,
Oh wow. Okay.
and that was Ultraviolet. Um,
Oh gosh.
but there was one that I did walk out of, and I was so pissed. And I, to this day, say it's the worst movie I ever saw in the movie theater, and that was A Thin Red Line.
Ooh. Wow. Okay.
That I mean, that movie was cinematically, like cinematography wise, it was gorgeous. They had a lot of symbolism
Right.
in there. Blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. Bullshit. 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 The movie was so fucking stupid. I just like no, I can't. I can't do this.
That's interesting. And I guess mainly because of oh, I don't know. Um, what is that like? Late '90s maybe or something like that. I don't
Something like
know.
that. Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, I I, I want to say I remember maybe war films having issues back around that time period. I could be
Well,
wrong, but
so the issue with that one in particular was the fact that it was trying to tell a shamanic journey for this white guy in the jungle, and
that's
he's
right.
high or
Okay.
whatever, but he's a pacifist, and
Yeah.
it's just this weird thing going on in the middle of a war zone, and I'm like, I understand the fog of war, I understand losing your faith in humanity, I understand losing your mind, but that was none of this. This was some pompous, blowing smoke up your ass kind of story. Yeah, but anyway, box office doesn't look good for the big ones as Pop cuts in and out. So, um, Mando and Grogu drop off again, even harder. Michael's still holding on, and you've got another couple of uh, I don't know, Beard winner pressure. I heard pressure was interesting. Somebody saw that, but I don't know how you make a World War II movie about weather. Um, I'm kind of on board with the people saying, hey, maybe we've made all the World War II movies we need to make. Because I think we've told everything from every aspect now. We've talked about the weather, we've talked about delivering mail, we've talked about rescuing a single soldier, we've talked about all the battlefronts that we've had from air to sea and the islands.
I had to go beat up my AT&T guy
Yeah, you punch
real
him in the
quick.
face. Yeah. Um,
Apologies.
but yeah, I mean the World War II movie genre,
Yeah.
I think we can put it to bed now.
Um, except action figures. Okay.
Yeah, well,
So,
okay, action figures may bring back some excitement to people telling their own stories, but
right.
I mean we've told just about every story we could from that.
So this is where things get interesting, okay? Masters of Universe opens up at in fourth place after 4 days, and 56 million worldwide is not good.
Not good, and if you look at the weekend numbers, I think it was 29 for the weekend. I don't know if that was 3 day or 2 day, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's barely breaking 30 million. domestically. So this is projecting, if it continues, it's gonna, make $180 million worldwide. I mean,
Yeah, it's and
and,
look,
and that's a high number at this point. Um,
projections were not good
yeah,
already.
yeah.
If you just look at your pre-sale, which is easy. I mean, Supergirl is having this issue as well. If you just look at your pre-sale, it is going to guide you in the direction. And we've talked about the nicheness of the IP and where it sits. And so yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but because of my thoughts on the film. But man, I mean, it's again now
There's a
that
lot of people try to spin this also and talk about how they'll make it up in streaming numbers and everything. It's like, well,
Amazon was trying to spin it.
that's not how that works. But you can say DVD sales or Blu-ray sales or whatever, and maybe that will help. I believe this is going to be one of those Princess Bride, Highlander type of movies that fails at the box office, but is successful in the aftermarket in terms of people liking it, people holding on to it.
I
I don't
agree.
know if that will happen soon enough for them to want to make a sequel or want to continue the story. Um, and maybe we don't continue to make movies directly for our childhood, our 50-year-old childhood.
Yeah, and we're going to get into this discussion when we go through the movie and we talk about it because there's another movie that's been greenlit. We'll share that news momentarily, and that will spur the discussion we had a little bit backstage.
Oh,
Um,
Justin Booth's got a hot take there and doesn't understand finances. Sorry, we've got to get to that in a second.
we and let me star it. I'll make sure I do. Okay, so that brings us to the next film, and the next film in fifth place is a Star Wars film, the first one in 7 years that on the first opening weekend got beat out by Obsession
The
and back
first
and
weekend,
then the next weekend by Backrooms and knocked out a number one after just a day or
a
two,
day.
you
Yeah,
know,
no, not
and
even.
and um, and this is an absolute bomb for Lucasfilm and Disney.
An
Um,
utter complete failure. It's astonishing the failure because so many people believed the hype and said it's going to make $600 million and it's going to be really successful. And it's like, no, sorry, we saw the projections. We knew that it wasn't going to make its production budget back, and it hasn't.
and it also, even though I remember showing the chart that shows that Boomers, the number one show for them, Star Wars is The Mandalorian, and
Yeah,
for children that are 2 to 8 or whatever, The
sure.
Mandalorian is their number one show. I don't think that this is going to just explode on Disney Plus when they
No.
put it to streaming. It's going to be there,
Yep.
but it's not like people are signing up. They've got to watch this movie. It look, I don't like it. I mean, I say I don't like it. I didn't care for the film that much, but I don't like it in the fact that this is where Star Wars is at. This is not
Yeah.
where I want it to be at. It's not
No.
fun. It's not
Right.
fun to me.
It doesn't get
And
you excited, doesn't inspire you,
no.
doesn't motivate you to go out and see this stuff. It's just, hey, look at this cute toy, buy the new cute toy.
No, and really the only thing you can take from that is I have heard people that say, hey, Grogu, my wife loves Grogu, my
Yeah,
daughter
I'm
loves. Okay, I get
sure,
it. I had a
sure,
guy today
yeah,
tell me that, so
sure,
it's fine, but it just didn't. It just strictly off of performance, which is what we're talking about right here.
yeah.
It did not do well at all, and it's pretty much as far as bringing in any revenue, it's sitting, and I just showed it sitting at 294. I didn't think the movie was going to make 300. Now it
I
will
initially I did,
cross
but
that
now it's like,
barrier,
wow.
but it's gonna be close. And
Yeah, I predicted 350, and I don't know that it's going to make it.
oh, I'm not sure it will. And so then we get to the Michael Jackson biopic, Michael, which is just continuing to still bring in money at almost $1 billion. It's 889
Yep.
worldwide. Very very popular. And then from there, the Breadwinner, Pressure, Devil Wears Prada 2. But really, the top of this list, the first 5 to 6 are really what I just kind of wanted to look
Yeah,
at,
yeah, yeah.
especially Mandalorian and even the Masters opening, which, it's. I hate to see it because of my
Yeah.
thoughts on the film. We'll get into it. Bobby Wold says, I was watching a video earlier today where they made a comment about, I wonder what the numbers would have been if both the director and the Tila actress both didn't say toxic masculinity. I don't know that would have
I don't
affected the
know.
numbers that much
I don't think
personally.
so. And we'll get into it in a minute, but I said this on the show months ago, and I'm gonna bring it back up again when we talk about it a little bit more.
Okay.
But I wanted to go back to Justin Booth's comment real
Yeah, I was
quick for
about to bring that up
yep.
here. Mortal Kombat 2, Mandalorian and Grogu films weren't that great. However, both films were not only able to recoup the budget and turn a significant profit, and that is false.
That is false. Now you have to think about it this way, Justin. Okay, if they tell you the budget was 170 million, they're lying. Number one. Number two,
But let's just take it at face value.
it's
Let's
face
just
it
just,
face
just say
value.
face value. Let's not,
100,
don't even add anything else. Let's just say it's just say
170
200.
million.
Let's just say 200 million, just to make it a nice even
Round
number.
number. Okay.
Okay.
200 million. So do you think the theaters don't get paid? Do they not make any money? Does all of the money that takes in at the box office go directly to the studio, or do the movie houses actually take a portion of that? Okay, so they do, and in the United States, it's about 50%. Okay, we can estimate that in the United States, it's about 50% goes to the movie studio or the movie house, and the 50% goes to the studio. Internationally, that number varies on country because the nationality will take a profit from it. So you're looking at 15 to 25% goes back to the studio in the United States. Okay, so whatever box office numbers that there are, you kind of have to divide that by three, right?
Pretty much. They'll tell you 2.5, but
Sure.
realistically, when you include the marketing budget
Marketing
as
budget wasn't
well,
included in that 200 million.
right.
So,
So when you're talking about the money they're actually getting back when it all is said and done, um, if it makes 400, which in this case it's not, right? Let's say it
mhm.
makes 300 million and it had $200 million, which is I think on the short side after, but I think it's 250 really.
Well,
Um,
we'll see.
is that if it makes $300 million and you're talking about, let's just say 50% of that went back to the
Yeah.
studio, then that's still not right. That's still not where you're at to actually turn a dollar on the film. And so, again, we talk about the model that used to be, you could sell it on VHS, you could sell it on DVD, and then you'd sell it to TV stations and you would license it out. And that was a revenue stream that is gone.
Yep.
It's just gone now. And so that was a way that we saw a lot of movies become cult classics that
Right.
ultimately ended up being very successful for a studio. It just took a few years to get
Yep.
there, possibly. I agree with you on the Masters of the Universe moving forward in the future,
Yeah.
and where that may sit in the pop culture and in the market of cult classic, so to speak.
Yeah.
I agree with you in that respect. That I think that will. Shane says that if Mando came out 5 years ago, it would have been $1 billion movie. I don't know if it
I
would have been
don't
a
know.
billion, but I will agree with you, Shane, that it would have made money. I do believe that. I think if it
Well,
came out after the first or second season and they struck while the iron was hot, I do believe it would have been a better result.
if this movie, even exactly as it is right now, came out after the first season, it would probably have made $800 million.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
agree. I can't argue
because
with it.
that was peak excitement for it. And season two had its bumps in the roads, but was also kind of a second peak. It wasn't as high as the first one, but it was a second peak for
Yeah,
the Mandalorian.
yeah.
But just box office stuff. Something that I said a long time ago about Masters of the Universe, and that is we will see how this plays to the normie audience, because I don't believe that there are enough MOTU fans to go out there and buy enough tickets for it to do anything. Look at the box office numbers. This is
Well,
exactly
yeah,
how it
yeah. I mean,
how it played out. And I know
mhm.
a bunch of people in the MOTU community that are so excited, and everybody's going to see it. And some people haven't seen it yet, so they're still going to see it. So there's still something there. But if they didn't see it opening weekend, then
Right.
it doesn't matter too much because they don't care about it that much, and it's faded from memory, or they don't have kids to go bring to see it, or
The
whatever.
results speak for themselves. I mean, it
Yeah,
just does. And I again, I hate that
yeah.
considering, but yeah, and as 3 Star says, the numbers don't do it justice, and there probably were some dads. I know there was only 15 people in my theater. I'm not gonna lie, it might have been less, but
So
but
my
I'm with
theater,
you there on that. And Giraffe, yeah, Transformers, Ninja Turtles somehow continually are able to bring in new fans. It's
well,
interesting.
and so they, with every one of those movies, they have a very recognizable, talented person directing. Whether you like it or not, that's another story. But they are talented, and they put butts in seats because they make good action movies, right? And
Yeah,
then and they try to pay some homage to the originals. They try to tell something new. You liked it or not, whatever. They put butts in seats, and they sold tickets. And guess what? They sold tickets to China. A lot of tickets to China.
yeah.
And that was a market that was untapped at the time, and it made the studios kind of take note of that. But some of the studios here in the United States refused to listen.
Well, um, I think robots, cars will always sell, and
Yeah,
children, regardless. I think Ninja Turtles is just something that is so goofy, but at the same time, it had a massive cultural
and
impact.
and somehow
Massive.
both of not somehow, but somehow the Ninja Turtles are this evergreen property because they keep getting reinvented,
Yeah.
right? And
No, you're right.
Nickelodeon has done a pretty fair job of reinventing them each time and trying to come up with something new, even if they're not successful. They fit a niche over here, and then they disappear. But for the most part, most of the turtle incarnations are pretty good. Um,
Yeah, it's
Rise I didn't like, but other than that, most of the
yeah.
other ones I love.
Now, just kind of touching on a couple of the comments, Bobby. I have not seen Scary Movie. I honestly really didn't plan on going to see it. I liked up to the second one, and then after that, once the Wayans brothers were gone, it did not do anything for me. I may check it out the way I check out things I don't feel like going to see. But I will see. I don't know if anybody else in here has Todd C. What's going on? Yeah, World of Warcraft in its peak. I think there is a fan base for that. They tried. In one respect, it did not do well,
It was
though. I think
probably a few years
internationally,
after the
maybe.
peak,
Hmm.
I think, but also they didn't hit the right vein that they probably should have with for
Right.
the WoW community.
And then War Chest is in the house as
What's
well. What's up,
up?
War Chest? Yeah, 3 Star saying there's not a lot of people in his theater 4 o'clock on a Saturday, but I agree because the theater on at 3 o'clock on a Friday was not
Mm.
busy where I was at. And Justin says, "Touche, Matthew." It actually makes more sense considering Amazon's trying to spin the Motu poor box office results. I just want people. That's my main thing. As we say
Yeah.
hello to Nolan also.
What's up?
I just want people to understand, kind of what the numbers actually mean. Because if you just read an article and you just take it for face value, then they're going to spin it. And they're
Yeah.
going, no matter if it's from the studio or it's the trades, they're going to spin it. And so, they want it to look good unless it is an absolute disaster in some shape, form, or fashion. But ultimately, like, I see that all the time where people are like, no, it made the same amount of money as the budget. How could it not make money? And it's just I just want people to understand what
Yeah.
those numbers mean without being like, condescending or anything of that
Right.
nature. I just want people to understand so then they know, okay, they're telling me this was successful, but like I'm not seeing it with my own eyes. And on
Right.
top of that, like it's not
Y-
adding up now that right?
Yeah, and you got to look at your sources too. Who's giving you this information?
Yes. Yes.
Because if it's coming from Collider or any of its subsidiaries, they're all bought and paid for by the movie studios. That's the only way they're still functional.
And
Screen Rant, all those guys.
most of our news is owned by about three entities.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why
Yep.
you always see the same articles rinse and repeated through different places. And because there's about three entities that own most of the newspapers and or, websites. And so
Yep.
so yeah, if they have an agenda, then they're going to do everything they can to use it. Wolfgram says there was no kids in my theater, only MOTU fans my age and over. A big whopping all 12 of us. I have a
Yeah.
feeling based off the numbers, that is basically what we were looking at.
Yeah. My
Right.
my theater was about half filled, and
I
there
love
and
this.
there were several children in the theater.
Randy freaking Piper. Love it. Says went to IMAX Saturday. Wild ride. It doesn't matter if it did well. It's Amazon. Money, money, money. Which Amazon obviously makes their money off of what? Not necessarily movies or
Shipping
Prime.
boxes.
Hello. And so says I don't think money was a factor in the business meetings for this. It's for the fans. And that brings me to something else as we say hello to the lovely and talented Legend
What's up,
Series.
Legend
What's up?
Series?
Says there was 4 people in the theater when me and my wife went. Granted, it was later showing, but still on opening weekend, I expected more.
Yeah.
And so that's what brings me to a conversation I've had with a lot of people, and we'll get into our review. I want you guys to hang out for just a little bit. We'll get into the review. But do you think it was really just to get the ball rolling? They didn't really worry about making money. I mean, I'm sure they did,
Well,
but they
so
did, and they just wanted to get this property back out in the zeitgeist again, judge the reaction, and see maybe what they can do from there.
yeah, it's interesting when we talk about that, because I don't know if it was around the time that they were starting to get projections for MOTU in, or if it was even before that, that they made the decision to pull Voltron from the theater schedule and put it straight to streaming.
Right.
And I want to see that on the big screen. But
Right.
now I'm not going to get that chance because it's going to go straight to streaming. And I think they're probably thinking we should have put this straight to streaming also.
Yes.
And moving forward, they're going to have to be very careful as they pick and choose. But quite honestly, if you go back and look at the movies that I've liked this year, most of them were made by Amazon. And I find
Yeah.
that fascinating, because if they made it to the theaters, Project Hail Mary, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
others were Amazon movies. So because they bought MGM and they have all that stuff going with them, I think that's very interesting. Um, they just need to pick and choose a little better about what they put in the theater.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that that's what they're reevaluating, and that's why they pulled Voltron.
And we could see maybe Masters is a let's put the toes in the water. Yeah, it's a lot of money to spend to do that, but let's kind of see where we're at with that.
Well, and you also
And so
have to realize
we'll see.
that the movie making, the Prime Video side of Amazon, is like, oh, we've got all this extra money, we can just throw this stuff over here,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
they're
So
satisfied with the profits they're
it's
making elsewhere.
yeah.
What's up,
It's
Lunchbox Killa?
yes. It is possible that was part of the conversation, without a doubt, and I'm okay with that if that's what they want to do. Look, it's their money,
Yeah.
right? It's their money. So look, there's a couple stories out there, y'all. There are a couple stories that we can talk about. One of which is a little interesting, and I know that you saw this as well, Matthew. I'm going to bring up just the Hollywood Reporter for this one about Hasbro. And I'm sure a lot of you guys, because I know a lot of you guys collect toys, a lot of you guys buy collectibles. Hasbro launching an AI studio that will let companies license its stable of characters, as well as maybe you purchasing the ability to have Cobra Commander give your navigation directions, possibly, or Optimus Prime having a conversation with your chat bot. This is not uncommon. I think this is something we're seeing. Disney tried it. They canceled that
And
contract a few
well,
months later.
no, the company folded.
Well, it is what it is. I think we're going to see a lot of that too. But
Well, because people are fighting the data centers. So
yes. So basically, just to briefly get a little bit of this, it says that Hasbro is launching its own AI studio called Sixth Wall, which will enable the toy giant's stable of characters to be deployed by third parties across the new experiences that the technology allows for. Uh, you can imagine what all that may be. Okay. I'm sure most of your imaginations could run wild with that. I don't know. The Baroness, possibly. I think there's 11 characters right now that they're going to make available, some of their biggest. And I think the biggest part of it is interesting. Right now, all of our IP is sitting in in static media, trapped in a toy, on a shelf, a movie, a video game. But as these characters come to life and interact and speak in real time, you have to govern their behavior, which is a different set of technical and brand challenges. And that's what they're developing, is to be able for you to interact with these things and maybe not let things get out of hand. I don't know what that looks like. You know, we're going to
There's
see
got to be
more
some
of
restrictions
this.
on it. So
It
yeah,
has to be restrictions.
yeah.
What do you kind of think about this? Is this anything that really interests you personally? I mean,
Nope.
I
I
think this
mean,
is kind of reaching,
I don't.
honestly.
I mean, what is this purpose? So that you can make AI videos on your Instagram or for your YouTube? I mean, what's the purpose of this? Is it so that you can download these devices for your Siri or Alexa or whatever? Sorry if you guys set off your stuff, but
Yeah, just yeah, right. I think this is gonna they're embracing of technology of digital formats of moving in that direction, which they have said they're going to do. Right, whether it's films, whether it's video games, they're also partnering with
but I mean,
11 Labs.
I got to know, who is this marketed to? I mean, what I mean,
Well, okay. So it says right now the company is currently focused on experiences as enterprise use cases that cater to consumers 13 and older, with particular focus on specific areas like interactive storytelling experiences, conversational games and digital companions, connected physical products and robotics, AI powered brand ambassadors, location based entertainment experiences, and dynamic customer engagement agents.
man, I
Yeah,
feel like everybody's losing the plot here.
I
You know,
agree.
when you find out that Nintendo, one of the big new games that Nintendo's coming out with is called Big Walk, where you walk around and talk to people.
Great.
Okay, why don't I go outside and do that?
That's fun.
I mean,
That
that's the whole freaking game.
Now my cousin, he did say, and hey, Flint could be giving you directions on your, navigation, right? Whatever.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, I
Do you know
don't
what? I met Bill
actually have
Ratner.
my I don't have my
I,
navigation voice turned on in the first place. Would that be
well,
cool?
yeah, that's right.
Yes. I
This is
just
true.
don't, for me.
I mean, I chatted up with Bill Ratner the other weekend, and I could have
Ah,
had him say
beautiful.
anything I wanted to and recorded
Very
it.
true, and you could have done it without him even knowing about it. How
Well,
about that?
maybe, but
Randy Piper says live stream I checked out. The guys went from He-Man to ramen noodles talk. When was that? Did
uh,
we?
I don't know that it was ramen noodles. I think it was
It was.
it was the company ramen that makes
Yeah,
toys.
I think. So. That's
You know
awesome,
what?
Randy.
And to be fair, I checked out of that one too. I mean, I like Ace and I like what he's doing, but that was not a great. That was such an awkward show.
Today.
Yeah.
Yes, and so I checked out after about a minute and a half. So anyway, and look, nothing against it. It is
Nothing
what
against it.
is.
No,
No.
no.
I'm not a big fan of AI customer service reps either, Todd. I prefer to talk to a human. And Randy likes what we're talking about here. Well, then stick around, Randy, because I have a feeling you're going to like the rest of this show. Because speaking of Hasbro, or at least
There's
speaking
bro.
of properties, um, boom. All right, kids. If you wanted the mass comic, guess what? You're going to have to wait a little bit. Image Comics and Skybound's Entertainment's Mask has basically sold out.
Yay.
Yeah, it is sold out. That's a good sign. It says right
Yeah.
here, it's still days away from even making its way into the hands of fans. So let's see here. I'm scrolling the article and I'm trying to keep up the main page for you guys. Let me get rid of that. Just so that way you guys don't have to have this thing scrolling on your screen while we talk about it. Mask writer Dan Waters said of the news, thanks so much to everybody who's pre-ordered and talked about the book for this unimaginable sellout. Welcome to the Mask Network, one and all. It says executive editor Ben Abernathy said that it's insane that number one sold out so quickly, and I'm excited even more people will get to read it. Yeah, so I went to look for a copy. I went to look for a copy of Mask, and it was not at my comic shop.
What
They
was the
did not have it.
what has it been released yet?
Well, I had originally initially read June the 3rd, and that was
Okay.
back a while ago. And so yeah, I mean, June the 3rd was the date that I had read multiple times. So
Yeah.
I went up there on the 3rd and then went back again. But yeah, I think it's just the fact that they have sold out pre-order, I guess, and so it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we've got to get on printing and a second printing. So if you were looking forward to reading Mask,
So its release date is tomorrow.
yeah. So originally it was
It's
6/3, got pushed back, and
yeah,
imagine it
June
physically
10th.
got yeah, I physically probably got pushed back because of the strong pre-order sales, if I'm guessing.
Possibly,
Uh,
yeah.
are you excited? In the chat, are you excited to read the Mask comic? Are you looking forward to this addition into the Inner John universe? What about
Uh,
you, Matthew?
no.
Not so much.
I had most of the Mask toys as a kid. I liked the property, the original cartoon. Um, I have seen them try to work Mask into GI Joe and Transformers for the past 10 years, more than 15 years.
Right.
Um, and it doesn't work real well. Just like GI Joe Transformer crossovers, those rarely work well. And it's because there's just too many characters to deal with.
Yes, you're right.
And now you're getting into this whole thing, and then okay, so are the Mask vehicles Transformers, or are they a piece of technology that Matt Tracker developed? Well, did he develop it because of John? Did he develop it because of the Transformers? Well, okay, I, I understand how they want to incorporate it. It just doesn't make sense because Mask is its own special ops unit, right?
Right.
It's got its own villain, and if you're trying to put Mayhem in with Cobra Commander and Megatron, you've got too many big bosses.
Well, they're
Right?
not trying. They've already done it because it's
Yeah,
already shown up in the comic.
I
You
know, I
guys
know.
have been reading it. You know they've done it. Now, as far as the vehicles, I don't know if
Well,
they are Transformers because the last issue I read where Mayhem basically flies away, it did not show that, right? So, and it didn't say anything about it. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm with you a little bit as far as the you start getting 3 books and you start kind of crisscrossing. And you remember back in the day trying to keep up with a Spider-Man book and a Marvel, a
So
X-Men book and an
so he
Avenger.
initially
Oh
said
gosh,
that there wouldn't be more than 3 books
right.
at a time in this, but Mask is the 4th book, unless they've canceled
Yeah, Void
one.
Rivals, right? You've got Void Rivals in there with Transformers and GI Joe.
So you already have 3 books, and this is the 4th book.
Um,
So
Yeah, look, I know a lot of people do like the property, and I can see where people are excited, and I don't want to take that away from anybody. For me,
just Jeffy, this
um,
is just for you.
this is just for Jeff. That's right, because he is just Jeff after all. Yeah, it's and Joe fan, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, Lunchbox, I think you'll like them. I do think you'll like them. I think for the most part, most of them are a hit. There are some misses in there. The silent missions and some of the ancillary ones are, a couple are good. Some of them are whatever. But
The
your
GI
mileage will
Joe,
vary, right?
the GI Joe and Transformers start out really strong. Void Rivals, in my opinion, started out really weak. Void Rivals picks up. Transformers drops off. GI
Right.
Joe has stayed fairly consistent the whole time, in my opinion. So overall, it's a pretty darn good series to put together. And when they put together the omnibus, where they collect everything through with all the different storylines
Right.
in correct order, that would probably be the best way to pick it up because right now it's kind of confusing to pick up 4 books.
It It can be. Finally, the Transformers GI Joe timelines intersected. It took a while to get there, and that's fine. I mean, look, I've been enjoying it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But for those that don't usually pick up a lot of comics, and if you do, then you can expect now to spend $20 a month,
Well,
or whatever after
well, if
taxes.
you're buying 4 books, then you're paying more than $25 a month. But
Uh, yeah, I mean, 4.99. I mean, between 3 and
yeah,
five, 4 and 5,
plus
basically.
yeah, 3 star. I
Oh,
haven't seen anything that outshines what they've done in the GI Joe or the Transformers with the mask writing so far. But
yeah. Well,
we'll see what comes of that. There's another comment you had highlighted
I had Bobby
earlier.
Walds here. Been enjoying the EU as long. So I don't think about a big chunk of Cybertron is on Earth, which is odd. While Duke is trying to find Transformers that are apparently everywhere. Yeah, there's a little
Yeah,
bit of that. There's a little bit of
yeah,
that in there. That's kind of I mean, it's comics, right? It's
yeah,
comics.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
You
you've got to suspend that disbelief and realize that it is
yes,
comic books, and there's this super element to it that you just kind of have to roll with it, and I
yeah,
get that.
yeah.
It was you highlighted earlier. It was about something else that was
Let's
adjacent.
see.
Uh,
Giraffe saying, "How is that comic only 4.99?" Um, dun, dun, dun,
Only
dun.
4.99. Oh, don't get me started on that nonsense.
I
Comics should
know.
be in this day and age. Comic books should be 2.99. They should be.
Now, Randy was discussing about Clayface
Oh, Clayface.
Batman,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
been waiting for
Yeah,
that
yeah.
character as far as
I
maybe
I
the
I
movie,
am
I guess.
excited about Clayface also. I think that they told everything out of order, and it's not gonna
Yeah,
the Gunverse is
I
gonna be
like
dead
that.
with Supergirl, but I am interested in Clayface if they're gonna give it the Penguin
Yeah,
treatment. That could be really interesting, but
if they
then
are
it'll
able
be
to,
dead after that.
I was gonna say if they're able to do that, man, okay, like let's go. But we will see. I am definitely curious about
Yeah, for
Clayface for
sure.
sure. Joe Fan 84, happy birthday to your son tomorrow, the big 12.
Nice,
He's
awesome.
almost a teenager.
Hoodoo, preteens,
Yeah,
danger,
Wolfgren.
danger.
Today's his son's 17th birthday. Well, heck yeah, man.
Wow, nice job.
Freaking awesome.
17,
You guys go,
getting it
man.
done.
Getting her done, baby. 3 stars still digging the Joe EU. It is kind of
Yeah,
flat. I agree. It does have peaks and valleys.
sure.
Goes nowhere for an issue or two. I agree with that
I'm
definitely.
excited about
Hmm.
where they're gonna go because they're gonna be doing the whole dire tech thing.
Right. So,
So
and like the
I
way
want to
they
see how they
introduced
do that.
Crystal Ball. So
Yeah,
as
yeah,
Bobby Will says. So yeah, right.
yeah.
And
My favorite crystal ball was from a series from IDW called Infestation, when they told horror stories, and they
okay.
had the Cobra Insane Asylum, and that's where all Raptor and everybody else was. But Crystal Ball was trying to summon the Cthulhu god to this realm, and that was kind of like the plot. And Storm Shadow had to stop him.
Dig it. I mean, look, the way I look at it too, it's kind of like,
I mean,
let's get
I like
let's get
Cthulhu stuff.
let's get freaky with it. You know what I mean? Like let's get freaky with it. Let's get,
You know what? And the older I get, the more I soften on the Cobra Law thing. Whereas back in the day, I was like, okay, whatever. But now I look back on it and it's like, yeah, I mean, it was the sci-fi thing that they were trying to do. And this new version of it, the way they're using it in the Energon universe, I think is really
oh,
kind of
come on.
interesting. And so I'm curious to see how far they go with it.
I did want to comment really quickly, and then got another story to bring up here that I know you definitely want to talk about, and I'm curious about the chat and on this next story. But really quickly, yeah, I think most DC fans at this point, you can't be standing for James Gunn,
No,
having seen what you've got.
well, but he has the same stands that Snyder had and Nolan has, right? So there's this group of people that worship James Gunn, and so you're going to get this big backlash on anybody who says anything bad about a James Gunn thing, because they loved him and they love Guardians of the Galaxy so much that they'll watch it over and over and over again, even though it's titled Superman or Supergirl
Right.
or anything else that he ever produces ever, because that was the one successful thing that he had. And he's such a niche storyteller because he likes all the weird stuff that you're missing out on the normies, the everyday fan that wants
Yep.
Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, maybe,
Well,
and then you can expand from there. And it would be awesome to see them bring together a universe. But when you have people like James Gunn in charge, it's not going to happen.
giraffe. Just for you. Just for you, you son of a bitch. um, yes, I liked it. All right. I liked it. No, I loved it. No, it's not true. But
No,
I did like it.
yeah,
Okay. So yeah, and I agree, War Chest. And so that brings us to this lovely story right here. And then the next one is the one I know you definitely want to talk about, but we've got to
yeah,
bring this up.
yeah.
Supergirl box office set to open far below The Mandalorian and Grogu. Well, we just told you where that ended up. So if that's where that ended up, then how much interest do you guys think there is for the Supergirl movie where the marketing has been horrific?
Not only has it been horrific, the best things that have come out of that are all of the memes where the memes have been pretty brutal, and I feel bad for this actress. I honestly do. Um, but she said some dumb things,
Yeah.
and her getting compared to all of these other actors or movie portrayals or public things that have gone on have been hilarious. But at the same time, it's like, this is the best that's coming from this movie. No one is going to see this movie. This movie, maybe it does better than MOTU, but I don't know that it's going to do better than Masters of the Universe.
Brother, I don't know, man. Like
Now, I will say that after coming home from the theater from watching Masters of the Universe with my daughter, who really liked the movie, by the way, my wife was so pissed off at the Supergirl trailer that we pulled out the Helen Slater Supergirl movie and watched
Oh yeah.
that night.
Yeah.
So we could say, this is Supergirl.
Right. Yeah, I know. I totally get it. I mean, I gotta say that so for this film, just kind of looking through and seeing, it's tracking for about a $55 million domestic opening weekend. I don't think it's going to hit 55
I
domestic.
don't know. I mean, I don't
Maybe.
know. I think that's a high end estimate.
It seems to me. I mean, Superman opened at 125. So do you think that a little under half of that? I mean, I guess that tracks.
That tracks, right? That tracks. But with
Oh
MOTU
boy.
opening up to 30 million, but there's more people that are interested in the DC universe. So I could see 50 million. So that's in the realm of possibilities.
What's funny is the range for Supergirl
Yeah.
has been like anywhere from finishing domestically at 107 to 180 domestically on the higher end as far as just finishing up. That's terrible, dude.
That is not good.
And it's not going to play well internationally. Superman doesn't play well internationally, so you can only imagine the
Okay,
level
now
for Supergirl.
hold on a second. Superman does play well internationally.
I don't know.
Superman plays really well internationally when told correctly. It's just that the last few people that have
Oh,
touched
okay.
it have failed miserably at
Well, and
appealing
I
to the
guess
international audience.
that's what I'm using as my baseline right now.
Yes.
Okay, like just let's it did not do
You
well.
go back to the 1980s, and everywhere across the globe knew the Superman logo,
I mean,
right?
100%. Yes, of course.
Everybody knew that, and now everybody knows the Spider-Man logo because Spider-Man is probably the most popular superhero in the world.
I think the movie is going to have to make like, I mean, dude, 600. I don't. There's no way. There is no
It
absolute way in hell this
with the
movie does well.
with the way James Gunn spends money, it has to be a $200 million budget or $250 million budget, and so
It's
we know that if it's $200 million, that it's got to make
six,
almost
seven,
600 million.
600.
It's got to
Yeah,
make 600 million
yeah,
to be successful,
yep,
and
absolutely.
and there's no way that it makes that much with
Yeah,
what we've seen at the box office this year, and what movies have done well and what movies haven't. This movie doesn't stand a chance. because quite frankly, look at Superman's numbers. What happened to Superman? That so underperformed. That's your powerhouse. That's your biggest character in the DC universe. And now you're taking this ancillary character that very few people even care about,
Yep.
and you're going to throw her up front and watch her get steamrolled. And you think that Jason Momoa is going to come and save this? No one is talking about Jason Momoa anymore. They saw him in the trailers and they said, "Oh, that's awesome. That's probably all we're going to see of him in the movie," and they're done.
I mean, dude, look, come on. How many people, even Jason Momoa, but it's like, oh, he's playing Lobo. Okay, then how many of those people are like, oh, cool. He's playing Lobo?
No, the reaction that I remember when he was cast as Lobo was, finally, this is what we said a decade ago. He should have
Right.
played Lobo a decade ago.
I mean, look, it's one of those things. You either know that character, and if you don't know that character, then you have no clue. And even if you kind of know the name, it still doesn't strike a thing for you. Like, oh, I gotta go see it because Lobo's in it. You know,
But
like,
if you do know the name, then you know that Jason Momoa was born to play Lobo.
right.
But this isn't a Lobo movie. This is a Supergirl movie.
I mean, yeah, well, and exactly, and that is 100%. It looks like most people are going to pass on it, and I can fully understand why. And I didn't expect most of the people that listen to this show anyway are probably going to go to see Supergirl, because
Yeah.
if you didn't really go see Superman, and maybe if you did, and what you think of that film, then what do you think this film is going to be like? And both of them, unfortunately, seem to be revolving around crypto. And we all remember when James Gunn said, "Well, I couldn't unlock the story of Superman until I wrote crypto in because of my dog and being inspired by
Yep.
my dog." So then now this is again using crypto as a basis for tension in this Supergirl movie. So it's like,
He's the major plot
really?
point, and it's like there's so many other things that you can do with Kara, with her, with Candor, with where she's from, with her relationship to her cousin, with the other battles that the clones, all the other stuff that she has to battle with
Right.
that they could have tackled with her, and this is how they do it. I mean, I don't
It's
know.
just,
Is it better than the witchcraft story of the Helen Slater movie? I don't know.
yeah, I mean, look,
I don't think so.
look, we'll see when it comes out. We'll find out. Obviously, we're gonna talk about it. I will watch it. I mean, I will be seeing it. I can't necessarily tell you that I'm going to be seeing it in a theater, but I will see it nonetheless. Dave, Triple D's Toy Dungeon. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Justin Booth fell asleep during Superman. Well, I'll be damned. How dare you? How dare you? Okay, this is the story I really wanted to get to. And I really want you to go on. I want you to kind of take the lead on this. Stargate TV series for Martin Garrow not moving forward at Amazon. Do you know why it's not moving forward?
Yes.
Well,
I
then
do
why
know
don't you
exactly
educate
why.
all of us as to why the Stargate TV series will no longer be moving forward?
Okay, so they got a crew together. They started working on this Stargate project, and they brought back the original creators. And they say this is going to be a true continuation of the Stargate story. So, they're going to try and incorporate as much of the lore as they can that has been established in Stargate, Stargate Atlantis, and Stargate SGU. And some of the video games and other subsidiaries, they're going to try and incorporate as much of that as they can moving forward into future storylines with the Stargate universe. Amazon said, this is too fan centric. Fuck off. And they canceled the whole thing because they were paying homage to the fan base, the people that created the fan base for Stargate, that perpetuated it for the last 25, almost 30 years now. And they're throwing all that away to be divisive, to be subversive, to bring in Ryan Johnson, to have somebody come in and destroy everything. I don't know. The people at Amazon are so screwed up because sometimes they're like, let's go full on nostalgia, or let's have this property and pay homage to it and move it forward, or let's completely subvert everything that it was and throw it off a cliff. They can't make up their minds, but the properties that people like are either the pure nostalgia or the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are paying homage and moving things forward. This series was going to pay homage and move things forward. And David Spader, one of the main actors, or sorry, Michael Shanks. Sorry, Michael Shanks. Uh, Same character. One was a movie, one was a TV show. Michael Shanks has been going on a tirade about this because he was all on board and all excited, and he was surprised that Amazon would do this. I mean, he came out and said the things you're not supposed to say on interviews, and he was saying all this stuff like, "This is so awesome! I'm so happy that this is moving forward. I can't believe that Amazon would do this and not do X, Y, Z." And guess what? Bam! They pulled the plug because of X, Y, Z. So everything that Michael Shanks feared was going to happen happened. And he has been railing against Amazon and saying, look, this is the last time, this is the only time that the original creators are going to come back together, that you're going to have us as some of the actors maybe come back, but this is the last time that this will ever happen. Anytime in the future that another Stargate project happens, it will have nothing to do with the original creators or the original property as we know it.
Well, and according to sources, the executives were, as you were saying, they were just concerned that beyond the dedicated fan base, it doesn't have a broad appeal,
It,
and
I
that's interesting to me,
disagree.
considering what they just put out in the movie theater a few days
Exactly.
ago.
Like I said, it's inconsistent. It's so inconsistent with what they're doing.
Right.
Garaf, SG1 was a great series up through season 8, in my opinion. After that, it kind of dwindled off. Stargate Atlantis, I did actually like a lot of that. And that is your introduction to Jason Momoa. This is the first time Jason Momoa starred in anything, was in Stargate Atlantis. And he will forever be pigeonholed as that character in everything that he's ever done since
Sure.
then. But I did like Atlantis. I did not like SGU. I thought SGU was a complete affront to everything we know as humanity. So there's things there that really disturb me and what they were trying to present and normalize, I'll say.
Yeah, it's just and again, as we get into the MOTU conversation, it is kind of one of those things of, yes, you have a dedicated fan base. Is there enough? My question is, we see all the time these things get revived and rebooted and redone. And you think, sometimes you look and you go, why did they do that one? Like, who's this for? What is this for? Where's the fan base for this, right?
Well, and then
So
that brings me back to I'm curious about this Netflix Scooby Doo reboot, that this
yeah,
live action thing that they're doing with the puppy, and they're doing the
yeah.
origin story. And I think it looks like they've received the backlash from Velma, and they want to go back to what Scooby Doo actually is. It's what it looks like. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off,
It's
but the
also your grandfather's IP.
well, okay, but okay, you're right, and maybe I mean we're severe outliers in this because my wife loves Scooby Doo so much. My daughter loves Scooby Doo more than just about anything,
Okay.
but that's because my wife imparted that love to her, right? But they have never stopped making Scooby Doo animated
Yeah.
films,
Yeah. No, you're
whether
right. I
they've
mean,
come out in theaters or not. There have been films for the last 30, yeah, forever, right? And they're still making them, and they still keep coming up with properties. And Playmobil keeps making toys, and Jada's making toys, and everybody else is making toys for Scooby Doo. So more and more things are coming out. So it is a property that is also kind of one of those evergreen things
yeah.
that you can always pop up and have your kids watch. And for the most part, it's a great tale of, guess what? Your villain's actually a normal human every
Yeah.
time, except for in a few situations.
You're right though on the kind of the evergreen part of it. Stanley, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man. Yeah, the animation, right? Every few years, we see a new one come out, and and it's usually a kid one, right? Or even if you didn't know it
Oh
came
yeah.
out, you somehow stumble around it, right? And
Well, they
as
would put them all out on Cartoon Network or whatever it was at the
right,
time, and we've collected them all on physical media because they keep having rights issues with certain ones of them. as they transfer from one platform to another.
I'm just curious because I think a lot of people, like Lunchbox says too, I mean, he loves Scooby Doo, and I think a lot of people fall into that category. And it is a broad enough appeal for something, I guess it just depends, those films that had, the oh my
Matthew
gosh,
Lillard, Sarah
yeah, yeah,
Michelle
yeah, 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 yeah,
Gellar,
yeah, exactly.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah,
And going back
they
and
did well. The first one or two did
who
well
wrote that first one?
enough.
Who wrote that first one?
Oh, I can't remember. I know it's.
Oh, you don't know?
I do. I'm just trying to remember who it was because I just watched a. Well, not
James Gunn.
just. I was gonna say, yeah, it's been a while, but I had watched a not a review on it, but like a remembrance of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of going through it, and I was like, okay, who did they say? Because it was right at the beginning of the freaking
Yep.
thing. Who they tapped to write
James Gunn.
it?
And like I said, he does this ensemble quirky show really well. Quirky characters, right? Scooby Doo, Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what he does well.
Right. Yeah, and I will agree, Justin, I will agree with you. I think, unfortunately, the DC animated stuff, which a lot of it I absolutely adore. I
Except for the last
love.
3 years. The last 3 years,
Been a
it
little
has
tough.
not been good.
Been a little tough, but a lot of the Batman stuff I really enjoyed for several
Absolutely.
years. And even
Anytime Kevin
the
Conroy is
Superman
Batman,
and-
I'm in.
oh sure. So yeah, I can't argue with you there, Justin. And Bobby's saying that they should have Ryan Johnson directed and severed everyone's expectations, turned Scooby Doo into an anorexic dolphin that doesn't solve mysteries but is in the band. Yeah, look,
Hey,
I
that
could
sounds like
see
Velma.
they would do lots with it. And it looks like we have a chud fight going on here. My son and his buddy Captain Kirkland is it's a chud fight. Chud fight. Chud fight. You should have heard him talking on VR a little while ago. It was goofy. No, good kids, man. Good kids. Yeah, you guys duke it out in the chat. I'm okay with that. Y'all go at it. Just don't spam it, all right? Just don't spam it. Okay, so look, speaking of in the band, let's hit up maybe one or couple more stories before we jump into the Masters Universe review. So this is something that you brought to my attention a little while ago, and I wonder if the chat is going to be excited again, or if it's, again, another one of your grandfather's properties. Yes, folks. Jim and the Holograms live action series is in the works at Amazon with Kilter Films and Hasbro. You made an interesting comment to me before we went on about this. Do you remember what it was that you said about this?
I said a couple things. Which one are you referring to?
Didn't they just do this recently?
Yeah, they just made a movie.
Did it do well?
No,
it did not.
It vanished as soon as it was there.
So what in the hell is the point of doing this again? Seriously.
We all know the reason. K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yep. That's the other thing you said to me. They're trying to capitalize on the K-pop Demon Hunters popularity. The problem is K-pop Demon Hunters, original, new thing for a younger generation that can call their own. They look at Jim and the Holograms, and when they find out about it or the history of it, to me, you look at it the same way as you look at G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, to name a million, right? We love those things, but guess what? You can't expect 12-year-olds and 15-year-olds and 8-year-olds to also love the same things that their grandfather loved. And that's right, guys. We're in our 50s, some of us. We can be grandfathers, okay?
Yep.
It's just the truth.
Right.
So, and I don't like to think of myself as that age, but it's the truth, right?
Yep.
So, Jim and the Holograms, come on, man. Like, seriously?
Look, the only way that this could be successful is if they actually hit a zeitgeist. If they actually get cross-promotion.
Live action One Piece was the jam, by the way.
Dude,
I liked it.
It was awesome. I loved it. It hit every mark on it.
If you thought it was cheeks, Captain Kirk, I'm sorry, but I actually loved it.
Yeah, I know. I loved it.
Go ahead. My bad.
If they hit the zeitgeist, if they hit the marketing, if they hit the TikTok generation and Instagram, whatever, and kids engaged in it with holographic projections, with a musical hook, with something really good musically that they connect with.
Sure.
You've got something really special that you can actually do with this made up fake band or whatever that's out there doing other stuff. The only problem is, who is Gem and the Hologram's biggest rival band?
Could we have a Cold Slither and a Jim and the
Well,
Holograms
so
face off or something like that?
you would have to
That'd be awesome.
you would have to do it that way in this day and age, because in
Right.
the original cartoon, do you know who their biggest rival was?
I don't remember. I mean, I really
Okay.
did not watch Jim.
Yeah,
Okay, full
so
disclosure, it was
Stanley's got
not
it
my
right there.
jam.
The Misfits. The Misfits is
Ah, okay.
is a
Yep.
punk band who would take homage, would have a problem with them using that name,
Gotcha.
right? And so they would come after them and say, "You can't use that name.
Okay.
That's our name, and you can't use it for this." It's like, but we also use this name. It's like, I understand what you're trying to do. So they'd either have to pay that band a bunch of royalties to use that name, or they would have to use Cold Slither.
Yeah, look, Cold Slither would be great. Of course, for us, that would work, right? Of
Hey,
course, it would.
Clint,
Um,
that's awesome. My wife loves Gem and the Holograms too. So
and
that's
I get it. Like,
yeah,
I totally understand that there are people who totally enjoy it, and I can see where girls at that time, right, were really into it. I don't have any issues with it at all. To be honest with you, I don't really care to go back and watch it, but I just don't know if would do well enough to warrant a series, in a live action. Considering there was a movie that just did not do well, I don't know why you would revisit this unless you were going to make them ninjas.
hey,
Unless you were going to make them ninjas, and then I could see you
the
want to change
ninjas
it
are
up.
real.
Okay, that's well that they're holograms. Hello, of course they're not real. Shit, man. Come on, man. Look, hey, hang on. I gotta.
Look, and if they made it traditional, Gem and the Holograms versus the Misfits would be the good guys, right? Because the Misfits are
Yeah,
always the good guys these days.
right. Yeah, well, that's true too. And Clint, yes, it is actually where I met you. Was outside of the gym panel at Joe Fest, and when I first read your chat, Clint, I thought it said actually this is where I met Pop in prison. I was about to say, wait, what? Do you know something I don't know? Because I have lost. And Captain Kirk says, look, hey, it's only, I think that the One Piece was Cheeks, only because I watched all the anime. Well, good on you, sir, because that's a hell of a lot of anime to watch. The
Oh, I
builds
get
in the
it.
show are really weird to make live action. I
No,
agree,
no,
but I had
I
fun
get
with
it.
that
No,
show. I enjoyed it.
and I would just say the translation from 1,000 plus episodes of an anime series and a
Mm,
manga series that's been going on forever. You have to condense things and make things in a narrative way that makes sense to tell story arcs.
yeah.
And I'll go back to probably one of the best live action adaptations of an anime that I've ever seen, and it's a property that I love, and it's Rurouni Kenshin. And when they made the
Oh,
three live action movies of that, they did an immaculate job of carrying it over and making it live action. So it was a little more Samurai X than it was Rurouni Kenshin. So it had more serious tones to it, but it still hit a lot of those elements throughout the series. And each movie was like one season of the TV show, and they had to condense it. But I thought it worked really well the way they did it. So I really liked the One Piece live action because I thought they hit those whimsical anime elements so well that it really popped on the screen, and we enjoyed it.
compared to Cowboy Bebop.
Oh God, screw that show.
Exactly. So I think we both fall in the same thought process with that one. Yeah, look, anything Robot Chicken, Bobby. I mean, it doesn't fucking matter, But I do remember that standing in front of the urinal. Yeah, that's a great skit. Yeah, Robot Chicken. Just come on, you guys know how amazing it is. Barbie. And the Rockers movie should come out and slap down Jim again, man. Catfight. I'd love to watch it, right? I'd love to watch it. Team Westworld. Are you talking about Lisa Nolan, Lisa and Lisa Joy, or what are we talking about? To direct the movie or the show? So I'm looking at it here. Yes, it is Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan, Kilter Films. Yes, it's Westworld and
uh,
Fallout. The project comes from Hasbro.
uh,
Yeah, so guess what? I would not have a lot of faith in it. Now, look, I have made my unabashed fandom for Fallout. I accept that that show has a lot of flaws, but it is one of those things that I just am going to be a stand for. And
well,
they are in charge of it, but yes, it has issues.
so I will say the first season of Westworld is phenomenal
It's
television.
beautiful, beautiful
After
television.
that, his wife took over and bullied him into changing the stories, and it sucked after
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So,
season two, man. What a
uh,
fucking disappointment,
I mean,
huh?
that show went downhill so
What
damn
a
fast, and it was all
disappointment.
because of J.J. Abrams' wife and the Me Too movement.
Yeah. Yeah, no, very true. 3 stars says, what if the Misfits was cool with it though? Like they named their brand after the cartoon Misfits.
That's not the way that happened. That's not. But I mean,
Um,
if they're cool with
I have
using the
no
name,
idea.
if they're cool with them using the name, that's
Right.
not the issue. The issue is that there would be legal confrontation,
Yeah,
whether it
for
was
sure. For
easy or
sure.
not. It
Yeah,
was a
100%.
confrontation that Hasbro probably doesn't want to have.
Right. Yeah. No. I'm with you. And Stanley
It's why
says,
they won't use Ghost Rider for GI Joe. I'm just saying.
oh yeah, right. Jim, let's see, San Diego Comic Con exclusive timing and coincidence.
Well, I
Um,
mean, wouldn't that be awesome, right?
I
Gem, the
mean,
Transformers, and
hey,
GI Joe crossover.
you know what would be very cool is when companies like do brand synergy and they plan stuff like that out,
Wouldn't
and
that be
they actually,
nice?
man, like it
Wouldn't
makes a
that be
lot of
awesome?
sense, doesn't it?
So are you saying that Cadet
Social
Deming is
distortion.
actually Gem?
Wow. Wow. Head canon, folks. Make up your own stories. Anyway, yeah, look, nonetheless, I do not believe that that will turn many heads, in my opinion. I don't think a gym series is going to get people
Like I said,
excited.
unless they hit a zeitgeist of social media interaction with the
Yeah,
millennials and whatever generation comes after them,
right.
to hit them to get connected with it. Whatever it was with K-pop Demon Hunters, it hit
Yes, it did.
hard with so many kids, like young kids. My daughter loved that movie. I mean, and my wife said the music's pretty good, you
Yep.
know, and my daughter's 10 right now, so she was 9 when
Yeah.
it came out or whatever. So you're looking at the 6 to 12-year-old range, and the 20 somethings loved it. So it hit those buttons. And if
Yeah.
Gem can't do that before the movie comes out or
Mm,
before the show comes out, or if the show doesn't hit that,
yeah.
it's not going to happen.
I agree. And also, Justin, both of us will agree with this comment. Pushing political agendas and beloved IPs, television and film scripts ruins them.
Every time,
Yes,
every
every
single
time.
time. So
Um,
that was what was the brilliance of Star Trek, is that he got to tell allegorical stories about current conflict in the world, but he told it in a way that wasn't so obvious, right?
well, and you'll hear a lot of people when they talk about Star Trek, right? And people talk about the new shows and how terrible they are. You will definitely hear people try to say that. Well, it's always been that way. It's always been that way. And it's like, no, I understand what you're saying, but
But
it,
the
it
quality of writing was so much
yes,
different,
hello,
and so they could hide their
yes,
subtext, and people engaged with it, and then only after processing it for a while did they realize some of the subtext that was in there, and they're like, oh. But also, when you're trying to push dumbass ideas in a political context that don't make any logical sense, there's no way that a logical thinking person will follow that context. It's
correct.
just it's not going to happen.
I did want to share something I saw, and I remember maybe y'all remember these too. I remember I came across this somehow, and I remember eating these cookies at my cousin's house back in the early in like
Oof,
1983,
oof, oof, oof.
84.
Did you get sick from them?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
But
because there was some Star Wars soap. I had some Luke Skywalker and Pilot Outfit Star Wars
oh,
soap.
sure, yeah,
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 yeah.
that made my skin break out faster than anything.
Now,
So
yeah,
I was so allergic to that.
that I don't know, but I damn sure remember the chocolate Darth Vader cookies and the Rebel Alliance vanilla Luke Skywalker cookies. And I mean, and I remember the peanut butter ones, but you know who else remembers?
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
So these cookies were the shit, and maybe you guys remember them. I don't know. I didn't eat the soap like you, Matthew. I
I didn't
only
eat
ate
the
the
soap either.
cookies.
I didn't eat the
Okay,
soap.
you don't have to lie on a live stream. All right, just tell the truth. We're all friends here. We're all in the same boat together.
My mom asked me like 3 times, "Are you sure you want to use this in the bath?" Because it was nicely carved out and it was all like a collectible type of thing. And I'm
Yeah,
like, "It's soap, right?
of
So I should
course.
use it,
Yeah.
right?" And I used it once. My skin broke out, and my mom
No,
said,
it's
"So we
terrible.
got to throw it away then."
I couldn't help myself though, man. I saw this picture and I went, gosh, I remember, having those cookies, dude. And I kind of want them again, but they would probably come with a cassette tape, right? And or not a cassette tape, but maybe like a special QR code on the back of the box that you scan, and then you get
Power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
cookies.
Yeah, right. Giraffe, the paste tasted better than the soap. I'm just saying. Um,
I bet. 3-star once Jim in classified. You're not alone, buddy.
no,
Frank
you're not
agrees with you
alone. And
there.
and you know what? They teased it hard with the Cold Slither box set, right? They put it out there to see how people responded to it. Um, you remember those Garfield mugs that came from McDonald's?
Oh, of course.
I just saw a commercial on a Instagram feed, pulled up a commercial
Mm,
of that today, and I'm
love
like,
it.
man, I had more of those than I thought I did. I thought I only had like one or two, but I think I had them all at one point.
Would not surprise me, dude. With a lot of that stuff. I wish I had a lot of those things back, obviously. I think a lot of us do. Let me see. I want to make sure this is right. Inferno, Hell Knight. Love it. Welcome. Supposedly G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Jim are all in the same universe back in the
Yes,
1980s
right.
cartoons. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Love it.
Connected by Hector Ramirez.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
Which I
did
would
you see
love a
the
Hector
Helldivers?
Ramirez.
Yeah,
Wait,
right.
what's
Did you
that?
see
Oh,
the Helldivers movie news?
I did. Jason Momoa
Oh,
is out.
walked.
Yeah, he walked out of it. That's bad news. That's a bad sign.
It's not a good sign.
Yep. Yojo Daddy says, "Hell yeah, give me that gem, baby. That would be fun with the Cold Slither set, no doubt about it. Now Biggie, I don't know if we'll get a Biggie. That'd be kind of
Well,
wild,
that was
actually.
a
That'd
NECA
be kind of
figure.
wild.
So there was the
Okay.
Biggie NECA figure,
Aha.
right?
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep. 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 Circus Peanuts, get out of here with that orange crap. No, I don't know actually if those are the ones you're even talking about. I can't stand those orange. They're like foam. Like you know what I'm talking about?
they
You know
hurt
the
your teeth
orange,
looking at them, much less biting
dude. I'm
into them.
telling you, those things look
And they squeak. They
funky.
squeak like styrofoam when you try to eat them.
They do.
I
They
can't.
do. They are not. They are toxic, folks.
They are
They're.
very toxic.
Do not try those. Do not take Stanley's advice. Actually, I don't even know if he eats them. He just said it's my grandparents' generation. Uh,
Twinkies will survive everything, but those foam things, they may survive too, but they're
no
not
doubt.
food. They're
Now,
not food.
Frank, I'm with you. 112K K-pop Demon Hunters in a case with Cold Slither. Don't blame me one bit. Don't blame me at all. Let's see what else really quickly. Oh, Justin. Oh, if you only knew. If you only knew, Justin. Okay. And Yojo Daddy says, "Hey, I do have the NECA biggie with Cold Slither." All right. It's about that time, folks. I'm going to play you something. You may have seen this. You may not have seen this, but I'm going to play for you a reaction to the Masters of the
Oh no!
Universe.
Oh no! No!
I am playing you a reaction you may have never seen before, and if you haven't, you are in for a treat. Some of you may know who Tom Connors is. Maybe you do not. I don't know. But I'm about to play for you probably the greatest reaction to the Masters of the Universe movie that
It's a
I've
take.
ever
It's
seen.
a take.
It is one of the takes in the world. So strap in and get ready for this take right here. I don't know why Tom had Vaseline on his camera lens.
This was Masters of the fucking Blunderverse. This was Thor Love and Thunder times 10.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. And anybody who says this isn't woke, they're lying to you. This is the wokest shit I've seen in years. Years. Everything insert the fucking Planeteers here to fucking, toxic masculinity on this end. It's all here, kids. Every fucking color of the rainbow. My God, what have we done? Fuck you, Mattel. Fuck you, Amazon. Fuck Masters of the Universe. After Revelations, after this, we are done. Divorced. I am so glad I spent no more than $20 together on those fucking toys. You want to know why? This movie's not getting another goddamn dime of my money, nor is Mattel, for the rest of my fucking life. Done. That's all.
Wow. So
That's all.
that's it.
I
love
love the rainbow.
I love how he went like this a couple of times.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I'm glad I only spent $20 combined. They're never getting another dime of my money unless they put something out that I like. It's fucking
So, okay. I mean, Tom Connors is a massive MOTU fan.
He is a very lore heavy Marty.
But
Marty.
I don't know that much about his love of Masters of the Universe and what side of the coin he takes it on. But I gotta say that the people that react like that to this movie have no sense of humor.
I mean, folks, like seriously. And when I saw that, look, it cracks me up. It absolutely crushes me every time I hear it, especially the rainbow. But yeah, look, that's a little heavy, right? Performance much? Not really. If you ever watch Tom Connors on streams, when he gets upset, this is basically normal for him. Whether it's performative or not, look, I don't know. But yeah,
he's going to give himself a stroke on camera someday.
He took it very, very tough. Very tough. Yeah, like me doing a Star Wars review. Not even close. I don't think I've ever even raised my voice that much on a stream. But yeah, no, nonetheless, yeah, he big fan, but God, I had to play that. I could not help myself.
Yeah, so that is a take, folks. That is a take of somebody who I don't believe has much of a sense of humor, who doesn't understand the humor that was intended or that is there in the original series as well as subsequent series and this movie. And if you really dive into it, I think it has other meanings than what he's pulling from it. So
I agree. This was a drone show. It was pretty neat. I remember seeing this, pretty cool.
This was pretty neat.
They had going on here. Man, like it's amazing obviously what they can do with that now. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's pretty wild. This part right here coming up with Skeletor I thought was really cool. Like I love that. Yeah, cool drone show. If you can find it, go watch that video. I think you guys will dig it. Pretty fun. And so I just kind of wanted to show that. So look, it's kind of time to get into this. We've held it off long enough. Let's do it. I want to hear your thoughts. I put out a review video on my channel. If you guys haven't watched it, I appreciate it if you went and checked that out. It's about 10 minutes long, if you can, or whatever, but much appreciated. But what were your thoughts on MOTU? I have not heard them yet.
So I'm going to preface this with telling everybody our experiences. So before we went to see the night before we went to see the movie, we saw the '87 movie. As a family, we sat down and watched that, and then we watched an episode of the 2002 series. Unfortunately, season 1 isn't available for streaming, so season 2 we had to jump into that. So we saw some other stuff there. And then I didn't want to overload my daughter, who's 10, but we went to go see the movie. My daughter loved it. I really enjoyed it. My wife was, it was okay. And I understand all of these points of views with this movie. I appreciated it for what it was. I thought it was a good story. I thought it was a good family movie for the most part. There is some innuendo and some storylines that kind of go off, but it goes over the heads of most of the kids. But if you look into it more deeply, you realize that, you know, if you're looking at it in a negative way, it's the bad guy who's doing this or saying this, right? The good guys aren't really engaging in that per se. But at the same time, I liked the vast majority of the story. It had its moments where it was a little awkward or a little campy, but that's what we expect from He-Man. There were three things that I will say that rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. I understood, but did not really like the portrayal of Evelyn.
Yeah, with you.
You know, she was 100% the abused girlfriend who liked being abused. She knew she was the abused girlfriend, and she liked being the abused girlfriend, and that was okay. But she played it a little too light. She was never sinister. And I always wanted Evelyn to be a little sinister. Brian May did a lot of the soundtrack, and he's from Queen. I was very disappointed to hear Princes of the Universe in this movie because we know Highlander, the remake, is coming out with Henry Cavill, and that is a Highlander song. That song was written for the Highlander movie and is forever attached to that franchise. And to throw it in here, while it did make sense, it does undercut the Highlander coming up. And the other thing was the J.J. Abrams lens flare effects in Skeletor's eyes through the whole freaking movie. But other than that, Jared Leto's performance as Skeletor, I enjoyed. I thought he was really engaging. And, you know, when he went into all those innuendo things, it was a little awkward sometimes, but, you know, he was also, you know, the boss man who was trying to be the boss but wasn't the boss, and everybody's like, okay, whatever. I loved Beastman. I loved how massive he was. Right?
Yeah.
One thing other that this is kind of spoiler, whatever, I don't know, whatever. But there's a scene where they're breaking out of prison and they come out and everybody's coughing and like throwing up, and there's this cloud of stuff there. I was like, this is the moment for Stinkor. Where's Stinkor? Why was Stinkor not there? Right?
Actually,
if
great
Stinkor
point.
wasn't there,
Great
what
point.
was the point for them vomiting over that cloud of stench that they walked into? Right? It's like it was a cut scene
Okay.
or something that doesn't make sense.
Right.
But I mean, overall, I liked it. I would give it a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. It's worth a watch if you have any interest in He-Man at all.
Right.
I would love for everybody to go see it at the movie theater because I would wish that it would make more money. I don't think it's going to, but catch it when you can catch it. It's worth a watch, in my opinion.
I agree. I do think the marketing did hurt this movie. I think that people did not really understand exactly maybe what it was about. I think, they did show some funny parts here or there in some of the trailers and stuff, but overall, I don't think they marketed it very heavily. And I think that definitely hurt it. I think that for general audiences, their knowledge of the IP going so far back, because people say, well, what about the Netflix, the Kevin Smith? What about the 2002? Okay, folks, we're talking about how many people's radar were those things on, right? I mean, probably not a lot, for general audiences. And so, so to bring in like an audience, you've got to find a way to appeal to normies, quote unquote, and then us, right?
Yep.
And I just don't know that they were able to do that. I mean, they
That
just
was its
weren't
biggest
able to do that.
failure, is that it overestimated who would come to see this movie.
I think so.
There's so much talk, and really, when you look at it, the He-Man fan base isn't as big as everyone thinks it is. And this is what I was trying to get people to think about a little bit. And when you're stuck in a circle of He-Man fans who collect Mythic Legions and Masterverse figures and are all in on Savage Crucible, okay, you're going to get a biased opinion on that.
Yes.
And then you hear this echo chamber of everybody saying the same thing, but it's only like 200 people, right? Yep. And then you go out there in the real world, and the real world says, "He who? What?"
I agree. I really do, and I think that was going to be a challenge, and that's why I wonder if, in fact, this is just a way to get the ball rolling, right? I really do wonder that. I recommend it. I think people should go to the theater to see it. I do think it's fun.
Yeah.
And I do think there is plenty of laughs in it. My 18-year-old, he liked it. He enjoyed the movie. We were cutting up about it the next day, right? I mean, there are some laughs. Now, are those laughs at the expense of He-Man, or are they at the expense of maybe some more adult-oriented jokes? I mean, yes. I know some people were not thrilled with the constant poking fun of the cartoon or the names or whatever. So if you were a hardcore fan, right, of that era, that 83 to 85 cartoon, I could see where, I mean, and look, I don't know. I know a couple people that really are. I don't know a lot of people who are just like ready to put their dukes up, right. Over it.
Now I got to say time out for a second, because I got to say, if you are that much into the lore, then you would know how these characters got named. These characters got named by the toys that were created and the executive who showed them to his son, and his son gave them names. Oh my God, that's what they said in the movie. Oh no.
Well,
okay,
and you have to remember,
a 10-year-old came up with most of the names for our favorite MOTU characters.
Well, and if you ever saw the episode of The Toys That Made Us, the guys that were in the office, like, they were high, they were bucked up, man.
Yep.
They were coming up with the goofiest names. I mean, that's, they were just naming characters, and they literally were at work just really super stoned and messed up. And it's, they talk about it in that episode. With some of the creators, right? And so, it totally makes sense. Now, there was a comment that Garaf had left for me.
I didn't see
and
this.
I wanted to bring this up because I do think it's important, and I haven't heard a lot of people bring this up. Now, this reminded me of something, Matthew, that you might bring up in terms of other properties when it comes to the origins of that property, and maybe not the best version, or the version that's known the best. Right. And this is what Garaf shared with me, and I thought it was interesting, because he says, look, so for the MOTU fan over the age of 45, I believe they fall into one of two groups. A, similar to G.I. Joe, Sunbow Productions, majority of those fans introduced through Filmation, and they live in a happy bubble of that being their definitive MOTU. B, similar to Joe and Marvel Comics, G.I. Joe, there's a minority of fans that grew up with the Conan-esque early mini-comics, Golden Activity books, and box art, and live in a happy bubble of that being their definitive MOTU.
Right.
With Group B, their MOTU has never gone back to touching what was pre-Filmation, where He-Man was fighting on alien lands, battle-smoked skies, tearing open the mouths of beasts, and smashing mountains with his fists to make a home. They saw glimpses of a dark and mysterious world, and imagination went bonkers as they played with the toys. Filmation drops, and Group B, where fans were confused with Cringer, Orko, bird costume-wearing sorceress, no two halves of the power sword, a bread box attack track, and more. They accepted it and enjoyed it for what it was, but those weren't their, those figures weren't in Filmationville for them, basically. Right. And the reason I understand this comment now that I didn't know is because there's a lot of that I didn't really know. And then originally the character was designed as a Conan, as a very powerful, godlike, most strongest person. I'm not familiar with those mini comics. I don't know a lot about that stuff, but I
The
can
mini
understand.
comics are really good.
And if that was your
Yeah.
masters, right, then I could see where you really are like, damn it, man. If they just went that direction, maybe they could have brought in some people who would have bought into this more than the filmation esque comedy, hijinks, whatever you want to call it.
In the original comics, there was no Adam. Right? It was only He-Man, and he was a barbarian from the waste who the sorceress found and gave him these magical armaments: the sword, the armor, the cross chest armor, and the shield, and the battle axe. Right? And so you have a totally different storyline, because if you look at the original designs for He-Man, was this barbarian character, and Skeletor was Thulsa Doom. Okay. And not the Thulsa Doom that you know from the movie, the Thulsa Doom that was created in the lore and in the comics, because in the second movie, they flipped the two villains in the movies, right? So Thulsa Doom was a totally different one than the one that they used in the movie. So if you flip those two characters, that's the name should be reversed, because Thulsa Doom was the skull-faced necromancer.
All right.
Right? And that is who Skeletor is based off of. And that was because Mattel was trying to get a Conan license to tell more Conan-esque stories,
Gotcha.
but they couldn't get it from the Howard estate. And so they created their own property based off of it. And they created Conan and Thulsa Doom, renamed them to He-Man and Skeletor. And then you change his hair to blonde, and you make some other modifications, and you go from there.
Makes sense, right? Makes sense.
Right. And so this is because this was early 80s, right? So they're playing off the Conan movie that was coming out. And
Lady
that's what
Virgo. What is up, girl?
What's going
How
on?
you doing?
But that was their original intent at Mattel, was to make a toy line for the movie and kind of build off of that Conan lore. And then it got dumped on its head when they said, no, you can't do that. And so last minute they changed everything.
And I think that another important, thing that I heard yesterday from one Tom Connors that we just watched who flipped out was that also, He-Man was on that early part of where they relaxed the rules about cartoons being 30-minute toy commercials.
Yeah.
And they were kind of on the very front end of that. And I think that some of that, the way the writing and some of that stuff plays in, but them having to have the PSAs, right? Having to teach you something.
Literally
is that early part of that, right? So maybe that's why those cartoons turned out the way that they did.
Literally, as soon as that situation got flipped for the cartoon toy industry, He-Man and G.I. Joe were the first two properties that were released in 1984 for that purpose, right? 1983, 1984 is around that time frame when that decision got reversed in Congress, so that you could actually make animated shows to sell toys. And Hasbro and Mattel were on top of it with G.I. Joe and He-Man that came out at relatively the exact same time.
Yeah.
And He-Man was like a month before or whatever the cartoon for G.I. Joe released. But G.I. Joe had been releasing comic book commercials that Marvel had developed with Sunbow. So they had already had the relationship, which is how they got the TV show developed so fast.
Yeah, I think when it comes to this movie, I agree with what you said all the way back at the beginning. I think that as it goes on and as more people maybe check it out, right, as more people are exposed to it that didn't go to the theater, but will maybe tell someone, yeah, me and the wife, we watched that He-Man movie the other night on Amazon. It was actually pretty good. It's pretty fun. I do think it has a life beyond this theatrical run. it's just, it's unfortunate. But I guess when I'm saying it's unfortunate that Amazon didn't make money on the movie, it's really only from the aspect of that, if you like these IP, you want to see them be successful so that you can get a sequel or you can expand on it and bring in more characters, right? And tell a new story. And maybe with a sequel, maybe they can pull back a little bit on some of the stuff and adjust a little, right? And make it the film that a lot of people really, really would like to see.
Yeah.
And then you have people who are like, no, they only did it because they really want to push a She-Ra series or a She-Ra movie. And I just don't see
No,
how anyone could think that would be as popular.
Well, not even that. If you watch what they did, yes, at the end of the movie, they throw that in there.
Right.
That's not what this movie was about. This movie was not about setting up She-Ra, because otherwise there would have been more of a Horde presence and there would have been all kinds of other things that would have hinted at Force Captain Adora and then She-Ra as they showed in. There are 3 end credit scenes. So
there's 4 actually.
3. There's only 3.
Well, I saw 3 of them, and the 4th one we left before it came on, and that was Evil Lynn at the very end picking up.
That's the 3rd one. There was only 3. There was that was only 3. There's one right at the beginning of the credits, one in the mid credits, and one at the end credits.
I could have swore there was 4, man. I looked it up on my phone.
No. When you look it up, there's only 3 because there's Orko, there's Man at Arms and the Sorceress,
and then She-Ra, and then
Skeletor's
helmet.
No. Those aren't 2 separate scenes. That's one scene. Man at Arms and the Sorceress and She-Ra is one scene, and then you have the last one, which is Evelyn and Skeletor.
That's weird.
Because it's a conversation between Duncan and the Sorceress, and they talk about it.
Yeah, they're counting. They're counting. It's
not 2 separate. It's not 2 separate scenes because it doesn't. There's no break.
I think they're counting one that it doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck? What I'm talking about is, bottom line is that they're counting one as it says some outlets noting a 4th quick gag right as the stylized credits begin. That's what I had read because it just gave me a number. But the point being is that regardless, setting up a She-Ra movie, pretty much is not like it. I didn't see that in the movie. I didn't see that setting that up. Like they mentioned at the very end, whatever. But
it's in a mid-credit scene, so it's not set up, right? It's not a part of the movie.
And there's nothing in the movie that even like hints at anything else. And so regardless, man, like I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. I did like the jokes. They landed for me.
Okay, Giraffe makes a good point there.
The skeleton. There's some of the Skeletor jokes early on that did not land for me, and it was very silent theater.
Well, it's
very
like
silent.
I'm the boss. I determine when it ends. Whatever.
That one did not land.
Whatever. It was fine. I didn't care about it that much. Giraffe, I absolutely agree with you. But then I also remember what they did in the Blade movie. So in the Blade movie, they had a special scabbard where it just disconnected from there so he could actually draw it, because you can't draw a sword from your back, motherfuckers. You cannot do it. It's stupid. So every time you see a fucking ninja with a sword in his back, it's because ninjas aren't fucking real. You can't draw a sword from your back like that unless it's a broken container, right? So the scabbard that it's in has to be broken so the sword can pop out and come up. You can't actually draw it from a solid scabbard. It just doesn't work. So yeah, that was funny. I did think that was funny when I saw it. I actually took note of it as he's pulling it out and it pops up, and I'm like, yeah, that's because it's a blade scabbard. It's just broken,
magnetized. That's my opinion.
Right there, you go.
Magnetized.
Perfect.
You just pull it off.
That's another one.
How did Adora got to Etheria in this version? Does she get kidnapped by a Hordak again, or does Queen Marlena send her to
Well,
Etheria?
so they don't ever talk about it.
Yeah.
And so we don't know.
Yeah.
We know how they sent Adam to Earth, but we don't know what happened to Adora or when that happened to Adora, because we don't see Adora interacting with Adam in any frame of the film at all.
Yeah,
So
no,
we have
nothing.
no idea when that happened or how that happened.
Yeah, I did like costume design. I did like character design. I thought
Yeah.
Trapjaw was fantastic. I agree. Evil Lynn was underused. I think she
Well,
should
she
have had
wasn't
a
menacing enough. She should
yeah.
have had more of a
Well, yeah,
presence.
more characterization. I think she definitely should have had more of a presence, but also like her own scheming. You know what I mean? Like she plays the battered
Well,
housewife, and that's it. Like
y-
that's she
y-
just keeps coming
yes,
back.
right. But she did have her own little scheme, but her scheme was to make Skeletor's scheme successful. It
Yeah.
just, with the Snake Men didn't quite work out exactly the way she wanted it to,
Just to
which,
me, it seemed like maybe she just kind of had something going on on the back, right? Like and maybe displayed
there
that a
should
little
have been
bit.
more of that. Yeah, I agree.
But she barely even really showed anything that she could do.
Yeah.
Just the seemed like the one main time it seemed like. But and then the sorceress, is kind of a nothing burger there for me as well. I
I
think.
was a little disappointed in the
Yeah,
Sorceress. I love the fact that they put Zoar in there,
sure.
and you have that whole side of it. But I love Marina Baccarin, and I would have liked to see her more prevalent in the movie than she was. But
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know,
I
it's
think both of those characters for me, the portrayal of Man at Arms, I know some people are really upset at that, right? And I
I
get
think
it,
it makes sense. I
but
think it totally makes sense.
part of it made sense, especially to me. I was not crazy about Roboto. I don't
Whatever. I
why you
didn't
need to
care.
swap that. I don't. I think it's weird, and him cradling the head at the end of the movie, and kind of like I'm just kind of like, okay.
And now I
Um,
feel a little exposed. Ha ha ha
yeah,
ha ha.
yeah. It
That now that was a Star Wars joke, folks. They put a Star Wars joke in the MOTU film.
and I heard someone talking about like how they it's like the Lando's you know robot in the Solo
Oh,
movie, and I was like,
whatever.
I don't ever want to hear anyone speak of that thing
No.
again. But point being is that it didn't do a lot for me. I thought it was goofy
Yeah.
when they were in one jail cell and Roboto just decides to pound right through the door. They're in another one and they're all sitting there going, "How are we going to get out?" And I'm thinking, you just showed how you get out. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you literally just showed it earlier in the movie. Like, what are we discussing here? But yeah, characterizations. Tila was fine in my opinion.
No,
Um,
you know what? And anybody who says she was the girl boss or whatever, I would push back and say,
yeah, I didn't
remember
feel
in the
that way.
cartoon, Adam Adam was a screwball, right? And so this character is playing the screwball. Unfortunately, there's no difference between Adam and He-Man in this one, right? So
Right.
you can't play it differently. And Tila was the one who trained her ass off and did everything her father said, and was the one in charge. And while yes, she saves Adam at the beginning of the film, Adam saves her at the end of the film when he's He-Man,
Yeah.
right? When he realizes He-Man and understands the power, he saves them all, right? And so the whole girl boss thing gets thrown out the window because she actually had training. You know,
Right.
I hate that the actress goes out and says that she took inspiration from Daisy Ridley's
Yeah, I don't get that.
Ray character.
Ray.
And I'm like, no, you didn't, because you actually had training. Your father trained you from the day you were born to be a warrior for Eternia. And so you actually do have a lot of background that you have built on that justifies where your character is in this film.
Yeah, I agree. And I did not feel that way while watching the film.
No, yeah.
I can tell you when I watched the Force Awakens, and
Yeah.
subsequent films how I felt about the character of Ray. I
Yeah.
did not feel that way about Tila, and I would tell you if I did,
Yeah,
because I
right.
have no problem doing that.
Yeah,
But
it's
yes,
not the same. Not the
I
same at
just
all.
I wish Adam, because the thing about it, kind of joking around near the end about how is he doing that thing again, or he's running off and trying to pretend, and well that that joke was fine, but where they talking about him, they're like, does he think we don't know and all that kind of stuff, but see like they didn't set any of that up at all. So it was just weird to have that joke at the end. And I think it was just an homage to the cartoon
Right.
more than anything else. And I'm fine with that. It just was kind of like, does he think we don't know who he is? And he's going off, and all that. And
Well, I mean, it would have been easier to say he doesn't like changing in public.
right.
It's fine.
But the thing is like you had mentioned, though, there's no difference between Adam and He-Man. And I
Right.
think, the reason Adam acted the way he did was to throw people off of the trail, right? Of who he actually really is. And so,
But
none
this
of
movie
that.
leans into the fact that that's who
To-
Adam is. Right?
100%, because he's Adam in a lot of it while he's fighting people, and like he's not looking like He-Man. He's literally dressed as Adam fighting, and so that's where they really don't even go there though at all. And but I thought the action scenes were good. I thought the
It's good.
CGI was fine.
Yeah.
The forest scene could have shaved a little bit of dialogue off for me.
They could shave some time there. I
just a
think
little.
that one dragged a little bit too long.
Just a little, but overall, man, yeah, like I said on the review, I do recommend it. And I was curious to see what you were going to say, because you had not said anything at all about it. You did not mention anything. I didn't want to hear it really until tonight. But I had a feeling you were going to kind of land in the same place.
Yeah.
I just kind of had that feeling that you were going to fall in there the same as me, and probably have some of the same, maybe little nitpicks, but overall probably dig most of the movie.
Yep,
And so,
absolutely.
yeah, I'm glad, because I think it would have been easy to go in there and really rip this thing apart, but I thought they did a decent job, honestly.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I let Tila. They let Tila crash. Ray would have landed the ship perfectly. Yeah, she would have bypassed the compressor, Graph. Where the identifiable toys in the comic shop scene were there? Were
Okay,
there
so-
identifiable toys in the so that
Yes,
who was holding the sword, right?
Okay. No, let's go back, because
All right.
my favorite reference in the whole movie is something that I don't know if you know. You may know this. I don't know if you know this or not. But my favorite reference in the entire comic book scene was the Big Jim figures. Now, do you know who Big Jim is?
I don't know that I even really saw them
Okay.
in the moment, to be honest with you.
So while he's kind of trying to pull the sword out or whatever, but in that room there's a shelf, and on that shelf in the side of the room, it has all of these Big Jim figures on it. Now, Big Jim was in an action adventure type of thing in the 70s, right?
Okay.
And Big Jim, in their action adventure figures that they made, they molded a tiger for their action figures. And Mattel bought that mold
Okay.
to make Battle Cat and Panther in the 1980s line. So that Big Jim tiger is the exact same tiger that is used for Battle Cat and Panther.
Gotcha.
And then beyond that, and a bunch of Mexican knockoffs. So that was my favorite reference in the stuff that was in the background, Stanley. I'm sure there's a lot of things in the background of that comic book shop.
At the time, I did not actually think to look, right? Like, I didn't think to look in the background, look around and see what is in there. It just wasn't even, I was just strictly watching, right, the scene play out. But I could see where people would be sitting there looking all over, trying to see what they could find, right?
There's all kinds of toy references in the background.
yeah,
I saw
Graph.
several of them, but I didn't note them except for the Big Jim.
World War Hulk, Lion-O. There
Yep.
was Nintendo, Zelda, Splatoon stuff. A
Yep.
CGI Evelyn toy was in the shop also. And then Torak was the
Yes.
statue holding the sword when he tries to, he rips it out of the hands there.
Yep.
And so that was interesting too, that little Easter egg, which I did not know about either till after the fact. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's really neat. And so yeah, pretty neat, man. Yeah, I dug it. I watched Kevin Smith's live stream for a little bit last
Oh
night.
yeah, I couldn't.
And
I
with
just,
what's his buddy Mark Bernard, I think. Or
Yep.
whatever.
I've been done with him
And
forever.
and Kevin Smith, you want to talk about a guy that barely spoke while his buddy talked about the film, and then the one thing he said was, well, people say, well, maybe compare it to the what I did, and that's it. He did not even bring it up. He didn't talk about it. Kevin Smith didn't mention nothing about the Netflix series at all. And I
Yep.
thought that was pretty interesting. But I happened to stumble into his
Because he
live
was called
stream.
out by Clownfish, and he went after them, and he
Oh, yeah.
realized that everybody was going to
Yeah.
backlash when they realized that everything they said was true.
And he also last week or the week before, he loved Mando and Grogu. Loved it.
Of course
Thought it
he
was
did.
fantastic. He
right.
just absolutely loved it. I think it's pretty weak sauce shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with Zor and Screech Bird toys. Big Jim was all over MOTU. Yeah, that's pretty interesting, man. It's pretty
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And my cousin, he sent me a picture here that a lot of y'all will definitely identify with. I think a lot of y'all will definitely.
Oh, I should have sent you mine with my Castle
remember
Grayskull.
this. And this, let's see. Let me back out of that. Let me share this really quickly. This is something he emailed me right here, which I know a lot of y'all
Oh,
will
yeah, yeah.
recognize that
Yeah, no,
where
that's gonna
that's
be awesome.
from, right? That's pretty good stuff. I did enjoy those
That's awesome.
scenes though, going back through, his life on Earth and the
That was
gym
probably
and
some of the
office.
funniest
I
parts of the
thought,
whole
yeah,
thing.
That's pretty
mean,
good.
Skeletor in the hoodie, pumping
Oh
iron.
yeah.
All of those scenes, I got a kick out of that, and that is so campy, weird. I loved it.
Yeah, Leto did a good job. He did, and they
Yep,
kept
yep,
him
yep.
away from the marketing, far away, and I think that was probably a good idea.
I think so.
Although, at the same time, I don't know if there had been a way to really have him have fun with that character in costume somehow at places. Maybe that could have possibly drummed up some interest by him staying completely out of all of the press for this thing.
Well, there's two minds of that, because some of it may have been Leto, some of it may have been the
Sure.
studio. There's
Sure.
because there's some reports that Leto wasn't real happy with what was happening, so there's some discussion there too.
Inferno Hell Knight asks, is it true that Mattel now owns the rights for the new Thundercats toys?
I don't think so.
I wonder if they just bought the license. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I mean, Super 7 has had license.
Yeah, right. I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know myself, to be honest.
Because that was a totally different animation house. So that was, I don't know. I don't know who owns Thundercats at the moment.
Yeah, and Garaf, I heard about the director, Travis Knight, saying something about at the premiere about He-Man in the movie, and that you can't have a movie without He-Man. That'd be shit. I did hear about that. And I thought that's a pretty good dig at Kevin Smith, if in fact that's where he was going with that.
Doesn't matter if that's where he's going. It's
where it went.
It's where it went. And
That's where it went. Yeah,
I dig it. I totally dig it.
I agree.
Hold on 1 second. Just give me a minute and wax poetical or whatever.
You're
I'll be right
good,
back.
man. I'm going to show one more picture for you guys that I thought was absolutely fantastic, and that is the He-Man and the purple skeleton. You got to love this, right? Prince and Michael. I mean, come on. It doesn't get any better than that, kids. This is beautiful. And I know there's a set of, I know people there had a picture of like 4 with like Diana Ross in there also. I think somebody else, but I dug that. This would be fun. I would absolutely be all over this 2-pack if it in fact came out. But yeah, like I said, if you guys haven't seen the review, I did put up a 10-minute review on my channel, and I plan to do a lot more of those moving forward to get some engagement. But if you haven't seen it, check it out. I think you guys will dig it. And tell a buddy, bring a friend. Yeah, he man's right hand, right? You gotta love the iron glove, iron fist. But yeah, super super cool. The power of AI, kids. Ain't it amazing? But yeah, I think I don't know as far as yes, he has the power glove. I think that I think some of the issues with the film that some people will say was the take on toxic masculinity, and that it was kept getting brought up every time He-Man would do something masculine, that a joke would be made about it. That every time he would say something about something masculine or whatever, that a joke would be made about it, right? And that did happen a lot. I think a lot of that was very tongue-in-cheek. I think the HR manager that he has to kind of report to, I think that was definitely a dig on that kind of therapy talk, the kind of corporate speak that is prevalent today, and that maybe some of you have to deal with on a daily basis. I do think there was a dig at that. I don't think they were trying to put that message across, but I did notice a pattern, though, of them, kind of making fun of his name or something he did or, something he says. That was prevalent throughout, but I don't think it really detracted, though, from the film. And I think
agree.
it was a poking fun kind of thing. So
Yeah, it really did seem that way.
I did want to bring up for you quickly before we get out of here, because I did promise it earlier, and Matthew, I did try. I tried to watch it. My son and I kept running around going, nanas, nanas. I don't know what in the hell I was watching, but I want you to tell the audience before we get out of here, y'all, a little bit about Death to the Pee-wee Squad.
Okay, so this is a bizarre thing that you can find on Tubi. Okay, and in the late 80s, this was 87, I believe, and it was written and directed by Neil Adams, one of the greatest comic book artists of all time, and he got his crew together of artists and writers from the comic book industry, and he had them put into this film. And it is a trauma film, so it is a D-rated film, right? It is not top tier. This is 1987, and it feels like a 1970s movie. It feels like a 1970s big budget movie if you think about how they made those, because they shot it all and then they had to redub it, and so they dubbed over everything at the end. And basically, it's about this inventor who's got this thing, and these guys come after him. But he goes out on a date and he leaves the kids home alone, and the kids, have this stuffed animal they call Nana, and you have all these characters come out of the woodwork, these gangsters, to come and take them out. Larry Hama plays one of the villains, and he's got his super long hair that he had at that time frame. So the hair goes down to his rear end. But his character has razor blades in his hair. And so he starts killing people with flinging his hair around, except for when he doesn't, because the plot deems that he just needs to get his hair out of his face. So it doesn't kill somebody. But he's got razor blades in his hair, and that's his character. So you have all these. So this is like adjacent to The Warriors. Okay. And you got to think this was one of the lowest budget movies ever made. Neil Adams used his actual children as the children in the movie that play his character's children. And then you have this bullpen of incredible artists and writers in there. And if you look at the IMDb page, the only one that has a photograph is Larry Hama, because he is actually featured in several other properties and films throughout his career. And this is in the days when, they're just sitting around bullshitting, and Neil's like, "Hey, let's make a movie." And he had a totally different title for it before this, but it got turned into Death to the Pee-wee Squad.
I want to give you guys a taste. I'm going to give you guys a taste of a scene. I wrote it down. Please show. I said show at 12 minutes and 52 seconds. I want you guys to get an idea of what I was watching last night. That Matthew was like, "All right, you got to check it out before we go on Tuesday." Here is just a little taste, folks. Enjoy.
Okay, kids, listen. The reason we're in New York is so that Dad can deliver that case in the morning. And, Nanas, I'm appointing you official guardian of that case. You hear that, Nanas?
Yep, I got it. Here's nice.
And as for you guys,
What the fuck
this
is
is going
this?
to cost you 37 kisses.
Banzai!
Now, this is all ADR, okay? I couldn't find many scenes where the actors were actually speaking. It's all done post.
Yeah, they had to dub over every line of this movie.
Dude, there's a scene where Nanas,
Do you think Nanas would mind if I put him into a superhero outfit?
You can't change Nanas.
An American
Oh
home shield
no!
warranty
Of course,
cannot
it'd be a
protect appliances.
commercial. So anyway, but there's a scene where Nanas, the monkey, literally jumps up and kicks a guy out of a window. He goes down an elevator. It goes down an elevator shaft. The stuffed animal's whooping ass. It's like, what is even happening
that's
right now?
that's not exactly what happened, but yes. Now, did you watch the end credits of this movie?
I did not.
Okay,
I did
so
not.
so the end credits are the
sorry.
best part, and I tried to tell you this because in the end credits, it's all a bunch of puppets filming everything, and so everybody's out here filming it,
Gotcha.
and they go over the cigarette scene where the puppet drops the cigarette and lights everything and blows everything up, and how the
wow.
fucking and they're yelling at the puppet because the puppet's not getting it right because it just keeps dropping it at the wrong place or the wrong time, and so the director. And they're all puppets, mind you. The director's having to call, "Cut, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And, yelling at this other puppet for not dropping the cigarette at the right time or place.
It truly is. And if this ad break wasn't so long, I would go. But it's like another 90 seconds or something. Anyway, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to share the Death to the Pee-wee Squad out there for those that with Neil Adams and obviously Larry Hama being involved, right?
And Gary Morrow, and
Right.
those are the biggest names of the comic book industry that you might know.
Truly something.
Every
to
one of
behold.
those guys in this movie, except for Neil's kids, are people in the 1980s comic book industry that you might recognize.
And what was funny is I've never heard of it. So when I looked it up, of course I see this, and I sent Matthew a message, and I was like, it's got a 4 out of 10. I'm like, what am I what am I gonna be watching here? And you responded to me the next day, and you were just like, "Hey, look, I'm telling you, this thing is wacky." And I did. I gave it a college try. I really did. But it's like watching a car wreck or someone drown. It wasn't that bad, but it's tough sledding. Okay?
The
It's
only
tough
reason
sledding.
that I even know that this exists is because I was sitting around with Ron Wagner and Larry
I knew
Hama
it. I
at
knew it.
midnight,
Mm-hmm.
drinking vodka, talking about stories, and I bring up Ghost Source Zero, and he goes on this tangent about all this weapons cache in New York, and then he starts telling a story about this movie he made with Neil Adams called Death to the Pee-wee Squad, and I'm
I
like,
knew it.
what is this? And then I searched it up immediately, and I told everybody who was in there listening in this circle, I said, it's on Tubi for free. And Chad, not Chad, it's Chad, but a different Chad who works for Kodame, Iowa, turns to me and says, "Oh, we totally have to watch this. We have to get some beers out, and we have to really watch this as like a group." And I'm like, yes,
Well,
that would be epic.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Yeah, good luck. It's Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. But the hardest part is like the ADR dialogue, right? Because you're watching and you're just like, oh my gosh, like
and
nothing is
if you can get past that, the
right.
story is actually better than most of the stories that are coming out of Hollywood these days.
I'm just shocked that Nana's isn't on the cover of the thing, you know, like it's just a box, you know, like and I mean, dude, these kids, they go, Nanas, Nanas, and then the little boy's like taking Nanas and he keeps running around with it to his sister and he's like, Nanas, look at Nanas, and I'm like, my God.
And then you have to speculate, is Nana's a possessed doll? Like, does their mother actually possess this doll and is protecting them this whole time? Or is it just a stuffed animal just doing its thing?
Because
it's funny, it's interesting, it's just weird as all fuck. And if you guys like Larry Hama or Neil Adams, you gotta check it out.
Yeah, there's some guy that's like going around the house and he's trying to like he's trying to find, I don't know if he's gonna kill these kids or
no,
what.
he wants the box, right?
I know he wants the box, but like the kids are like, hey, hello, and he's trying to hide, and there's like an elevator, and he takes it upstairs, and then he sends the elevator back downstairs, and I'm trying to find the scene. I was hoping to find it real quick, but it's just the ad break just keeps kicking in. But anyway, and it literally, Nanas just flings himself across the the screen and he just knocks this guy right back down the elevator shaft and he dies.
Yeah,
and I was like, holy shit.
The stuffed animal yanks this guy, man, just offs him right there.
It's
and
magical.
There's a couple things, but if you know New York apartments and all that stuff, there's these weird elevator things that they have at different points and stuff, and it's just very 1980s, but it feels 1970s. Because of the production quality of it. It is a trauma film. If you know what trauma is, you will understand what you're getting into. If you don't, maybe it's not for you. That's fine. But I just thought it was just this niche thing that I learned about that I was like, I have to watch it. I have to watch it.
I mean, that
in celebration of Larry Hama's birthday that was on Sunday.
Yeah. And I knew it. I knew that's where you got it from. I literally was like, he had to have been sitting around with Larry and like they're all drinking and somehow this shit came up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know that's where he got it from. And sure, that's exactly where he got it from. All right. That's gonna do it for us, y'all. I guess Matthew, you got anything going on? I know tomorrow night I will be on with 3-Star Draw on his channel for Seven's Wild, talking about Yojo June and getting ready for Joe Fest. And then Thursday night I will be on a Punk with Toys channel for Thursday with a friend, the Road to Joe Fest, and I'll be on there with my cousin 3-Star Draw and the Krusty Old Crow, or Krusty Old Crow. With them, they do Backyard Battlefield. So the three of us will be on with a Punk with Toys Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central.
Which that means that a Punk's Pit was just canceled on Monday, even though he said it was going to happen this Friday. It's canceled for this Friday, and supposedly it'll be the following Friday. So that's probably the next time you'll see me streaming on Tuesday, and then that Friday. I look out for the Savage Crucible, man. They put out a post today that I thought was hilarious for all you haters and people who don't understand what pre-orders and limited stock means. They're coming out with a whole definition of words so that you guys can actually understand what they're saying when they say these words that we should already know the definitions to in terms of the toy industry, because people are so butthurt about Elric that they're selling all their Savage Crucible. I'm like, you're selling the best action figures that are on the market.
Right.
Okay, fine, whatever. But that'll, more people get into it or whatever, because there's plenty more coming from them. And if you pre-order, you're good. If it's a regular item, you'll be able to buy it in stock. If it's a specialty item, maybe harder to get, right? If it's a super specialty item that they didn't anticipate demand on, they may reissue because it's a licensed property piece. Just saying.
Yeah. I would think so. By demand, right? Backed by popular demand, kids. Yeah, so I guess that's about it. I know we'll see you next Tuesday. I will have a stream this upcoming Sunday. I took this past
You
Sunday
sure?
off
You
because
sure you will?
I had tonight, and then I've got tomorrow and then Thursday, and so I was just like, man, I've got
It's a lot. That's a lot.
I've got a lot, and my son's been over. I really don't like to stream and leave him, over. So just
Yeah.
kind of hanging because we do actually do a lot of stuff together, just messing about. So, but yeah, so. Yeah, go see MOTU if you haven't seen it for sure. And it's so goofy. All right, you guys have a great night, and maybe I'll see y'all in the next couple of days on 3 Star Draws channel or on Punk with Toys Thursday night. Peace out, y'all. Have a great week. See you next time.